I'm sitting here with my company, Honda Civic Tour, one of the bands on the Honda Civic Tour, alongside Blake and Matt and Kim. Thanks, guys, for taking the time to come out here and talk to me. I was thinking about the Honda Civic Tour. I was looking at bands that have been playing on it in the past, and they've certainly had an impressive collection of bands, but it's been a pretty eclectic collection. But this is the first time I've really seen so many high-powered bands on one tour. Usually the Honda Civic Tour revolves around one kind of big-time band.
Right.
You guys clearly are at the point in your careers where you could have carried this tour on your own. Were you at all hesitant to share the billing with Blink-182, being that they're such a big band as well?
Right. Yeah, when it started, it was kind of one of those things where Blink just kind of called us up and was like, "You guys want to tour together?" And that's how it all started. The Honda Civic, they came in much later. So when Tom had originally approached us about it, we were like, "Oh wow, that'd be really cool." Like, we don't really have anything going on this summer. We knew we wanted to tour, and just the chance to get to play with them every day was kind of one of the things where we were like, all right, that'd be really fun.
I mean, not to blow too much smoke up your guys' ass, but that's impressive to think that you guys would take a step back in a sense, because like I said, at this point you should be headlining most shows that you play, and there's got to be a large contingency of the crowd at every one of these shows that is coming to see Blink-182.
Right. Well, that's like the reason we take these things. We've always taken them. We took them on Black Parade. We did Project Revolution with Linkin Park because it's great to be able to play in front of somebody else's fans. I mean, that's how we started. And for most of our career, that's actually what we did. We just played for other people's fans, even from the beginning. And that's kind of our thing. Like, we really like doing it.
Have you? Would you guys look at Blink-182 as a band that's been influential to you guys? Growing up.
Absolutely, yeah. They're definitely one of those bands grew up listening to, and
started in a van, touring, and just kind of got in a van and did it.
Very cool. Yeah, and I was thinking about how the music industry's changed, and you guys, with your start being right around the beginning of the 2000s. You've really had your career right in the smack dab of one of the most transitional periods of the music industry.
Yeah.
How are things different for you guys as far as from the business aspect of it? I mean, because I think when you started, you make a record and then you tour to support that. Now it seems like you tour for a living,
right,
and a record is kind of just a byproduct.
It's weird. I mean, we definitely still don't operate that way. We still operate as we've always just wanted to, which is like we put a lot of time into something that we really like, and then we tour on it until we don't want to tour on it. So I know there's all kinds of methods and models that people have altered things, and overdoing it in social network and having to tweet the date for lunch in order to keep your fan base, but we don't really subscribe to that stuff.
Yeah.
So for us, it's just like we just like making art together, and we're always going to put it out. Maybe we'll put it out different ways, but we won't let the business dictate, because it never did. Back then, people were, selling multi-platinum albums, and we were giving away our music. So we were always doing it differently.
Actually, speaking of the times when you guys were giving away your music, I saw you guys play in New Brunswick in front of like 9 people.
Oh, that's right.
In like 2001. I think I talked about it with you guys when you were in the studio with LB. So it's so strange. I mean, it's actually nice to feel like you're watching the progression of a band's career from absolute ground zero, right, to the point where you're at now.
Right.
Is there any bands that you've kind of seen along the way that you think are going to be the next band to come, out of the ashes and be a next big rock band?
It's crazy, like getting to tour a lot. You see a lot of great talents. There's bands that we toured with way early on, and we're like, this band it has to be huge. Like there's a band, Moments of Grace, that we toured with so early on and made such an incredible record, and it just didn't connect in some way. I don't know why, but you get to see a lot of great bands every day. Like there's a band, The Architects from Kansas City, that's amazing. There's a band right now from Jersey called Titus Andronicus. That thing's amazing.
You mentioned Jersey. You guys, like where you come from, and I think 10 years ago, when you're getting your start, there's not only is it different to sell music, but it's also different to kind of market your music. In that, it seemed like there were scenes back then,
right?
And I mean that in a good way. I grew up here in LA actually, and there was a scene, and there was a local scene, certainly a local scene in Jersey at the time. It was actually really exploding in the early part of the 2000s. Do you think with the internet making it so much easier to get your music out there, it's also kind of destroyed the idea of like the hometown scene?
me a little. I mean, well, that video you showed, he was just mentioning Titus Andronicus. The video they made is very interesting to watch because it actually looks like a snapshot of a scene that nobody knows is really going on right now, and that's kind of exciting. So it looks like there's this other kind of different Jersey scene happening right now. Maybe it's just harder to find, you know.
I think it's it's one of those things where I think the bigger local scenes have just gone global, and I think they're harder to find because they want to be, but I think they're still there.
Yeah.
And these little pockets of friends really just putting on shows for each other. You know? But I think a lot of those, because everything's so accessible these days, kind of want to stay even farther under the radar.
Yeah, I mean, there is an upside too, though. I mean, it may destroy that scene, but at the same time, a band from the backwoods of Virginia or Georgia, they can get the same kind of global marketing that any band could now. You know, you don't have to be from Manhattan or Hollywood.
I think it's important though to, I don't know, because another problem with that is, like, you know, sometimes you're not ready. Like, what if we had tons of, like, we didn't have YouTube when we started. Like, imagine if we had. Like, you'd see some, and all, you know, I loved all of our shows, and we definitely progressed and grew. And I think when it was time for us to be on TV is the first time that people saw us globally.
Well, but is there value to that in, like, having to really climb those slimy rungs and work and play to nobody and tour? And because not only does it teach you more about, you know, being a musician, but also it kind of makes you grow balls to deal with the the rigors of the industry.
Yeah, I mean, and I meet bands that are far younger than us and far smaller bands. All they do is talk about business, and that's not something that ever happened to us because we climbed up, you know, a mountain of slime to kind of try to get here. And you have those ups and downs together. You grow up together. You learn each other's personalities. We've had years of experience to do that in a van with no internet or anything. So I think that you know, I'm not trying to sound like an old funny guy.
No, but you're exactly right. And last question, I hate to ask like such a cliche kind of journalisty question, but the critical acclaim around your last two albums has been so much. I mean, it's been so high, and rarely, especially with rock music, has there been a band like MCR who's been so universally well regarded with their last two studio albums. Does that create a different level of pressure every time now you guys start to think about writing new music?
Yeah, I mean,
you can't let it in though. That's the problem. I think the amount of pressure is what you make. You know, if you're making a record to impress the people that you reached the last record, or the people that are, you know, writing reviews about it, then yeah, that's going to be, you know, overwhelming. You're ultimately going to fail, you know, trying to meet these expectations. But if you really just you set the bar yourselves, then anything you make, as long as you do it with 100% of what you got, you know, you're gonna be proud of it. All
right, fair enough. I actually lied. I have one more question, and I want a serious answer. Jersey pecking order. You guys give it to me right now with Bon Jovi, Springsteen, My Chemical Romance.
Oh well.
Make the order.
I think it's a widely known pecking order that probably all of the bands involved would say. You know, it's Springsteen,
Jovi.
You know, Jovi. We've had actually really awesome. We've actually had really awesome experiences with Bon Jovi. They invited us to play. They're amazing guys. They invited us to come open that arena with them in Newark, and I played 2 nights with them. They played a week of sold out shows, and it was, they're the sweetest guys. They got us these leather jackets and stuff. It was super awesome of them.
It's gotta, especially when they buy you something like an article of clothing, because those guys still looking pretty pimp.
They look really good. When they gave us we looked like garbage pail kids, and they're all standing there, and they look immaculate looking.
Yeah, it is almost impossible how good Richie and John especially look in person. You're like, oh, that's not fair. You're 30 years older than me and really a lot younger. Guys, honestly, thanks so much again. Appreciate it.
Thank
you.
Have fun tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Take it easy.